Let's do this. The Cult of Hocke podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Kurt Leavins. Welcome, Kurt.
Never in doubt. One of us had to say it.
Thank you, Bruce. Up there with the hockey gourds. And did the Oilers ever get a few breaks in this game? Did the Oilers ever get a few breaks in this game?
They did, but so did the Vegas Knights, I think, right? So
did the Vegas Knights. The Vegas Knights.
Yeah.
5-4 in overtime. Huge win. They're up 2-0 in the series. Wow, I'm a little bit numb, Kurt. I was doing game grades. I was doing a Twitter reacts during the game, and I was also doing this grade A shot. So I was just anyway. I was busy, but the Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights were even busier. They were they were going nuts.
Yeah, if you weren't entertained by that, blood doesn't pump through your veins.
Oh, ain't that the truth, Kurt? Two good things, two numbers. Two good things, two bad things, and two numbers. And because it's a huge victory, obviously, we're going to go with two good things each. Let's start it off. What's your first good thing?
Well, my first good thing is Calvin Pickard. Not only has the guy won 6 in a row, but keep in mind, a year and a half ago, he was in the American Hockey League. And everybody thought that's where he would stay for the duration of his time with the Edmonton Oilers. I think his win in game one, while he played well, he faced 17 shots. So it's not like he stole that game tonight. They do not win that game tonight without him.
That is correct.
What a performance. It was, he battled all the way through. That second period save on Olofsson, I know Olofsson scored 2 tonight, but that one where he came across and grabbed it, what a stop. And to keep going after, I thought he wrenched his knee there. I was very worried, and I'm still not sure that he didn't wrench his knee. And the fourth goal was scored through traffic after that. And I kept a pretty close eye on him. But then in overtime, he was out of his mind in overtime too. When you're getting these kind of minutes from, let's call a spade, he's your backup goaltender who's now playing like your number one, right? When you get this from your backup goaltender in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, come on. It was, nobody predicted this. Nobody saw this coming. It's a fairy tale story, and you got to hope it continues. What a performance he is giving his teammates, and the way that Corey Perry hugged him at the end. When the guy who's seen everything spends that much time with your goalie, you recognize that the team recognizes that he did something special tonight.
There's just so much that happened in that game, but Pickard, I think he got better as the game went along. There was Smith, I think Riley Smith had a one-timer on the power play, big stop on that, and then Tanner Pearson, breakaway stop on Tanner Pearson. Can't even remember who let Pearson in on that one, but maybe it was, I don't want to guess, Klingberg. Anyway, then there's Eichel. He's got a 5-alarmer.
Yep.
Most of the goals, I couldn't really fault him. Even the outside shot by Peter Angelo, Hurdle is like a total eclipse of the sun's screen.
Yeah, he didn't see it.
Pickard was his own worst enemy in a few moments, like the Hurdle's incredible chance in overtime. Pickard put that rebound. That was one of the ugliest rebounds. He didn't need to do that. He put it right back out into the slot like that. It wasn't that hard of a play. You just pump it to the side, but I guess he was being extra careful to stop it, and it pumped it right back into the slot for Hurdle, who split the defenseman. I didn't think the defenseman had time to react, nor would they have expected Pickard to do that. Darnell Nurse then, Pickard saved his bacon though. He stopped Hurdle's shot. And then on the rebound, Darnell Nurse got his stick on it. It was a game-saving play by Darnell Nurse there as well. There were so many incredible plays in this game. Pickard was in the middle of many of them. And the Vegas fans, I can tell you from monitoring them online, were extremely frustrated with how well Calvin Pickard was playing because they expected him to fall on his face. They were laughing about it, crowing about it before the series started. And Calvin Pickard, who was cut by the Vegas Golden Knights, by the way, in 2017, comes up big, real
Yeah.
big for the Oilers.
I don't imagine he's ever forgotten that.
I don't imagine either.
Players don't forget that kind of stuff.
Nurse's stop there could have been a good thing all on its own, but I'm going to go. My first one will be the Oilers' fourth goal, makes them up 4-2, and it seems like they're in the driver's seat at that point and going to win the game.
Yes,
it is a gorgeous play by three players. Hyman winning the puck, I believe, in the boards in the zone, gets it over to Nugent Hopkins in the offensive zone. Nuge makes a great chip pass to Hyman, who makes a great pass then back to Kane in the slot, who fires it right away on net, and the puck goes in the net. It was an excellent playoff goal. The Oilers have a second line. They got a third line. They got a fourth line. I mean, in the first line, until the magic happens in overtime, it was the first line that everybody online was complaining about, and they didn't get a whole lot done. I mean, the power play was frustrating to say the least. And if the Oilers had lost this game, McDavid and Draisaitl would have the goat horns on them. I'm going to suggest they didn't play terribly. It's not like they were that bad. It's just that they weren't, until the right moment, they weren't Superman. And then they were Superman. And then they were. Kurt, what's your second good thing?
My second thing, and you alluded to it briefly, was the fourth line. Big game like this, and your fourth line chips in for 2 goals. I mean, Vasily Podkolzin, I thought, was going to jump right out of his skates. That puck went in. and look, 2 things on that goal. The first thing is, if you're Vegas, your goaltender's got to stop that shot from there, right? Like that can't.
That Colton shot.
Yeah,
it really does.
Yeah. But at the same time, when you give a shooter like Podkolzin, who has a real heavy shot, that much room and let him to get in that tight, pucks are going to find a way in, whether the goaltender is good or bad on that play. So while certainly your goaltender needs to stop that, the defenders for Vegas gave up way too much gap on that one. But you know what? That fourth line, like Janmark doesn't get a whole bunch of love tonight just because he isn't twice on the score sheet like Arvidsson and Podkolzin are. But when you can throw those 4 guys out and say, go get them, guys. And I thought, they didn't play a bunch, but I thought they were effective just about every shift that they were out there. And when you look up and down the lineup and you realize on a night where I thought the Eichel line played the McDavid Draisaitl line extremely well until the last play in overtime, someone else needs to step up. And as you said, the Nugent Hopkins line stepped up for those one goal, and that fourth line, those 3 guys step up and provide a couple. Huge. If you get 1 goal in a game from your bottom 6, that's big. When you get 2, you need to win the game, and they ultimately did.
There was, I think, the 3 Oiler goals in the second period. Wallman, Podkolzin, and Nurse. And it was only the first goal I thought was actually a grade A shot, Wallman's shot. And even that was from high out. But it came quickly from the low-high pass, right? And bam, in the net. So that's a really tough play for the goalie because he doesn't even have time to adjust and come out and cut down the angle. But that was Arvidsson and Podkolzin, of course, buzzing on that one. And then Nurse was kind of like Podkolzin's. It was, how did that go in? Like they're both, he's got to have both those shots. And I wonder if they'll change goalies. I don't know who their other goalie is, but that was not very, he made some big saves, of course, also later on, but there was a lot of crossbars, 2 or 3 crossbars or posts. Like he got lucky, Hill, too. He was not good.
He was
I'd
not.
be giving him a 3.
Yeah, no. Calvin Pickard for the second series in a row is the best goaltender in the series against 2 guys who were much ballyhooed to be on Team Canada. Think about that for a minute.
just for a second here, Mr. Stingy, what would you give Calvin Pickard for in the in the grade department?
Tonight, I give him an 8 tonight if I was grading him.
I gave him an 8. I gave him an 8.
See?
I'm
Great
calling
minds.
Kurt. I'm calling Kurt stingy here because he's like well, I didn't really notice it until recently. Like, you don't like giving out the 8s and the 9s. Do you? A guy's really got to earn it for you to give out the 8 or the 9.
I am stingy. Although I think of the three of us over the years, I've maybe the one that's been the most free with 10s too on really elite nights. But otherwise, yeah, I kind of stick between 4 and 8.
Which is reasonable, right? Because most players actually do play between four and like 3 and 7 or 4 and 6 really in the games. And yeah.
I find your swings entertaining. I like going from a 2 to a 9.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah.
All right. Connor McDavid, he was having a pretty tough game, I have to say. And of course, Evan Bouchard always has his critics, and he did make a number of mistakes in this game. Leon Draisaitl, everyone, like, people were speculating, is he injured? Is he injured? Like, why isn't he doing more? And they really were not getting much done in the power play. It was very frustrating. And I think Vegas's penalty kill is in large part responsible for that. It's an excellent penalty kill. But Leon doesn't, like, he's not setting up too much for that shot, the executioner shot. And I'm not, for his great one-timer. And I don't know, maybe he isn't right to take it on a regular basis. I can't really say. But what does it matter? In overtime, first of all, a great play by Evan Bouchard to win a board battle, seal off the boards. You always hate that when you're the forechecker going into forecheck and that defenseman gets his body in there and seals off that boards and rubs you out. Seals off the boards and then puts it right around the boards, hard around the boards. I think it goes to Corey Perry, if I'm not mistaken, who puts it over to Connor McDavid. And McDavid is finally going. And does he ever, like, there's been all this talk about how great a defensive player Jack Eichel is. Jack Eichel is defensive player extraordinaire. But you can't count on a forward, even the best forward, to stop McDavid coming at you full speed when you're skating backwards. Forwards just don't. I mean, it's the rare forward who would have this skating technique to thwart a player like that when he's asked to be the defenseman, essentially. McDavid dekes around Eichel, goes in, puts the puck over to Leon, and it's pretty much a wide open net, and Leon deposits it. It was a fantastic goal. And I heard a lot of, it was fairly common for the Oilers. Like, it wasn't, like, there was a number of people saying, like, maybe the Oilers didn't really deserve that, but there's got nothing to do with it, Kurt. They won the game. They deserve to win. They were the better team tonight in the end. And that high level of skill, it separated the Oilers from the Knights.
Before I comment on that goal, because I have a piece on all four players. What were the grade A shots tonight for those who think that it was that there was a game that the Oilers didn't deserve to win?
The grade A shots were 20 apiece, both teams. Now, a lot of the Oilers' grade A shots went in the net, 5 of them, and then 3 or 4 hit the crossbar. So he made a lot less saves. We count posts and crossbars as grade A shots.
Yeah.
And some people don't, so that's why I'm stipulating that. And the 5 alarm shots were 10-9 for Vegas. The Oilers had lots of great chances as well.
So it's an overtime game. That's basically what your grade A chart is telling us, right? So
exactly. Is that how you saw it?
Yeah, absolutely. And on that goal, I mean, Evan Bouchard, we've talked about it, David, how, we know this guy can defend. We've seen it. We saw it all year in the playoffs last year. And that was an elite defensive play tonight. Like, that's a tough play. If you don't angle that guy right, he's past you, right?
Yeah.
And there was a few instances tonight where I thought that Evan defended with a snarl, and that's when he's at his best as a defender. He's an offensive player, but he can defend, and that proved it. That play that Corey Perry made on the wall and Nicholas Hague, that made the goal. If Hague holds that puck at the red line, the play's dead in the water, and the puck probably goes in the other directions. Huge play along the wall by Perry. Connor McDavid absolutely broke Eichel's ankles on that play. Like, there's no two ways about it. And I'm with you. This guy is an elite defensive forward, but he ain't a defenseman. And Connor McDavid, I guarantee you, he recognized who he was coming down on. And bing, bam, boom, he's by him. And when you give Leon Draisaitl an open net, he's going to score. Two overtime winning goals in the Stanley Cup playoffs for Leon Draisaitl. And for those who say, what's wrong with him? He's hurt. I don't know. He has 2 goals in 2 games so far this series. That seems okay to me.
Well, it's like when he really truly was the walking wounded against the Flames in 2022, right? And he only did like 2 or 3 points a game against the Flames. Like he was hobbling around on one leg with a high ankle sprain after that hideous, unforgivable play by Mikey Anderson. And the guy just keeps putting up points, whether he's on one leg, like he's like the Monty Python sword fighter who gets his arms chopped off and proclaims, "I've yet to begun to fight." He brings it even when he's the walking wounded. And I don't know, like I can't say for sure. I can't tell if he's hurt or not. He doesn't look like he's skating well.
Yeah.
Seems to be skating okay. McDavid certainly looked like he was skating okay right there at the end. I know.
Yeah, sometimes the other team deserves credit too, right?
Yeah.
Vegas is a good defensive hockey team, and that Eichel line, up until the last play of the game, had played an extremely good game.
Yeah.
So it's were they at the top of their game until the last play? No, probably not. But I think the other guys on the other side had something to do with that.
Indeed. Kurt, what is your bad thingamundo?
Special teams. You know how we went to the Stanley Cup Finals in Game 7 last year on the strength of our special teams? A historically good power play and an out of your mind good penalty kill.
Yeah.
Well, both kind of stink so far this year. Tonight, the power play was 0 for 3, including a 5-minute major in overtime. They had a couple looks in overtime at least, but still, that power play has got to win you a game, and didn't. They pulled it out in the end. And the penalty kill, 2 for 4 again. That ain't gonna get it done. And it's if you keep falling behind games, they've come back to win 6 times now, and they keep giving up, power play goals. At some point, that's going to come back and bite you. In particular, I was thinking of the one PK goal, and you might remember at the outset of this series, I was saying, I'm not so sure I would have Ty Emberson in there instead of Troy Stetcher.
Yeah, I do recall you saying that, Kurt.
And you know what? He only played 6 minutes in Game 1. He only played 7 minutes tonight. And I keep hearing he's on there to be on the PK. Okay. But on that PK goal that they allowed, both defenders were equally at fault in my eyes. Kulak can't worry about 2 guys at once. You got to pick a guy. So I thought his divided attention was part of the problem. But if you really carefully watch what Ty Emberson did on that power play, that power play runs through Jack Eichel, and everybody in the league knows it. And when you're a defender, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure that you're fronting the puck all the time with your stick outstretched. You're not trying to give him a clear lane to go anywhere, to pass to the left or to pass to the right or to go straight ahead. There's always a stick in the way. But you'll notice if you watch the replay at one point, Emberson looks off Eichel and looks back to the point man, checking to see where the other guy's at. And that is when Eichel slides over a step. Then Emberson gives him the inside lane. Like he shuffles over after Eichel shuffled over a step, gave him the inside lane, and it was that lane that Eichel put that pass through in the one-timer to Olofsson.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, that's a mistake by a defender. He's standing in the wrong place. He gave Eichel too much gap, and then he actually turned sideways and gave him that route in front of the net. So, is he that much better of a penalty killer than Troy Stetcher would be? I don't know. I'm not going to criticize him that heavily. They're ahead 2-0 in the series, but overall special teams haven't been good enough, and the one guy that's in there specifically to play the penalty kill hasn't been particularly strong in that aspect of the game either.
Maybe this game was close enough that, like, the coaches are superstitious, and they want to reward the team that won. They don't want to make changes, but maybe we will possibly see a change. Eichel deked him out, I thought, and then Kulak was up too high. There was very fast, excellent passing by the Golden Knights on that play, the first goal.
For sure.
And Kulak got caught up too high.
Yep.
The second one, I just thought was on Kulak. There was a pass right across. Maybe if I was to look, let me just see. Excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong one. The second one too. Emberson, the second one too. Emberson and Kulak, both of them needed to stop that pass. I couldn't believe how that one got by them. The first one was just super fast passing, great play by Vegas. The second one seemed like a defensive error where they, Kulak in particular, was looking at the guy behind the net instead of focused on blocking that pass. And Jack Eichel, they're going to have to solve Jack Eichel. Someone, either crowd him or back off or whatever, like cover everybody else, make him shoot. I don't know if you want Jack Eichel to shoot though. So he's killing them right now. And that's it's almost like they need a bigger guy over there, maybe put Nurse over there with his reach. Well, they need Matthias Ekholm over there, or Kulak. Like right on, as opposed, Emberson's about his wingspan is a lot less than Darnell Nurse, and it's less than Kulak. You need the guy with the biggest wingspan right on Eichel, and I bet you we'll see a change in that regard, even if Emberson's in the game. But if Emberson's not doing that, then why is he in the game?
If he's not on the PK, why are you dressing him? Then Stetcher does have to play. If you're going to make a switch on the PK, and you're having issues on special teams, right? I think you do need to tweak something. If he's not on the PK, David, he's only playing 5 minutes.
Yeah.
As it was, I was a little bit worried tonight that the Oilers' defense might run out of gas because the Golden Knights were rolling 6.
So my bad things are the penalty, the actual foul that was called, and then the penalty that wasn't. Right. On Arvidsson. So Nick Waugh, is it Roy or Waugh? I don't know.
It's Waugh. Yep. It's
Nick Waugh. He, I don't know what he was doing there, but he should get suspended as well.
Yes, he should.
That's an absolutely vicious cross-check to the face. And he's already was kicked out of this game, correct? I think he was he not?
He was. Yeah, 5-minute major in the game was called.
But there should be also a game attached to that. It was terrible. You can't cross-check someone right in the face. I don't know why he did it. Like Frederick maybe was getting under his skin all game or something like that. Frederick has that effect on people. But
you still don't cross-check a guy in the teeth.
Nuts. That was just nuts.
Especially at that point in the game, he put his team in a terrible position. Like that's a problem, right?
Hey, there was one miss that wasn't a missed call. Either towards the end of the third or in the OT, Eichel takes a stick. I noticed that the Vegas players, even the slightest stick to the face, go down like they've been shot. And I'm not saying they're diving, but they're diving. They are. And the refs didn't give Eichel one when he did it. And it was good because it was like McDavid's penalty in the third, where just the tip of his stick right at the end. The guy, that was the most flagrant embellishment, I thought, where and you want to be careful. Like I'd have to probably look at it again. Maybe I'm incorrect, but in the moment, just watching it the first time and then in the replay, I just thought that is such an embellishment. He hardly got you. You just felt a blow to your head with a stick and you dropped like you were shot. And I'm glad the Eichel play came after that and there wasn't a penalty. And I'm glad the referees didn't call it because I'm getting a little tired of Vegas doing that. It's BS.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't want this to be a soccer game. Yeah.
We do not. So then there's Arvidsson's play on the forecheck where he sticks his stick between McNabb's legs and takes him down. Now, I know in OT they let a lot go, but it was a fairly obvious trip. And I can tell you the Vegas fans are up in arms, and this game for them will forever will be about that play, because they're now, because the winning goal came so quickly after that, they're linked in their heads, and they think definitely should have been and it should have been a penalty in my view. That was a penalty, but I don't think it cost Vegas the game. I don't. No. It's just one play among many where there was a call that the fans didn't like. We had Oilers fans had a number of those as well, but it does put it doesn't put a dark shadow over the game. But for Vegas fans, man, they are up in arms, and I can see why.
I saw a couple people online saying, "Oh, that should be a suspension, or that should have been a major." No.
What?
No. Yeah. It was just like, come on, cool your jets. What was it, a trip? Yeah. Hey, I'm a guy that cheers for the Oilers. It was a trip. It should have been called. I haven't seen anybody reasonable who thinks it wasn't a trip, right?
Yeah.
Now, the Vegas player also was in a bit of a vulnerable position, and part of it was the trip, but part of it also was him going down. You still call it, don't get me wrong, but it's not like Arvidsson drilled him from behind. He got his stick caught up in between his legs. That's a trip. That's not a major. It's not a boarding call. It's nothing more than that. And so, sure, Vegas fans, it should have been a minor penalty. That doesn't change the outcome of the game.
Yeah. Kurt, let's move on to our numbers. What is your numero?
14. 2 years ago, when we lost to the Vegas Golden Knights, I think the general consensus was that the Golden Knights were a deeper team. And it was that their depth ultimately is what beat the Oilers. And I think that's a fair criticism. I think that is pretty accurate. This year, it appears as if the Oilers were the deeper team than the Kings, and it appears as if they're the deeper team between the Oilers and Vegas as well. With goals tonight from Wallman and Podkolzin, that makes 14, David, 14 different Oilers have scored for Edmonton so far in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And we're just 8 games in. That is real depth. And for all the people who so heavily criticized Stan Bowman through the course of the year, and I think in some cases fairly so, but you know what? Some of his bets are paying off now. And
Jackson's.
And Jackson's, right? This is turning out better than a lot of us thought it was going to turn out. And hey, this is just 2 games. Series is far from over. Don't get me wrong. But when you get goals from 14 different players, and a lot of those guys have 2 or more, right? Like that's a real balanced attack. So on a night when you all but shut down McDavid and Draisaitl until the last play of the game, it still is 4-4 going in overtime because your bottom 6 guys have chipped in for 2 goals.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
The Podkolzin pickup. I mean, fans in Vancouver must be, I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe they thought, well, maybe it took a trade to get him ramped up, but man, that guy plays hard hockey.
Player.
Yeah, what happened there? I don't get it.
Yeah, me neither. I
don't get that. But Henrique has been playing really well. Connor Brown has been out of this world good. So yeah, lots of bottom line guys getting it done. Kurt, my number is the grade A shots for 2020 at even strength though. It was 17-13 for Vegas. And if people are a little worried about the series right now, like even though the Oilers are up 2-0, even strength play is actually a pretty good indicator of, I think, like a durable indicator, a durable predictor. Power plays and special teams, those things can come and go. Like the Oilers could suddenly solve Jack Eichel on the power play, for instance. And the Oilers power play could suddenly get going. You know, these things come and go. So 17-14 grade A shots for the Vegas Golden Knights, even strength this game. And it's really interesting because the Oilers so far in the playoffs were getting 61% of the grade A shots, which is an amazing total in the playoffs. In the last 3 playoff years, 22, 23, and 24, they averaged 51% of the grade A shots, 54% of the grade A shots, and 51% of the grade A shots. They went to the Stanley Cup final getting 51% of the grade A shots. When you're playing tough teams, in the playoffs, it's hard at even strength to get that, more than 55% of the grade A shots. Well, they had 61% again heading into this game in the first 7 games. But today, after the Oilers were 11-1 in the first game, 17-13 for Vegas. This was a much better effort for Vegas. And I think if fans have a sense that Vegas was the better team tonight, it comes from that. This even strength, that's not dominance, but even strength, extremely strong play by Vegas. In that game state, people start to wonder, oh, okay, this is close. Well, it is close. This is close. And, we will recall the Oilers won the first 2 games last series and then lost 4 straight. Vegas is a really good team. We have not heard the last from them. They've got it together at even strength. They are a strong even strength team. They shut down McDavid and Draisaitl at even strength for much of the game. That's how good they are.
And it's on amazing. The power play for much of the game.
And on the power play. Like, this is a really good team. If they had better goaltending, I think Calvin Pickard was again 1 or 2 saves better than Hill. He was 1 save better, obviously, but it did strike me that Vegas got some really great chances and Pickard came up big and Hill let in a couple soft goals. So that's really the bottom line of this game.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think if you consider this context, down 1-0 at home already, Vegas needed to be the more desperate team in this game because, of course, the Oilers want to win. But if they don't win, they've still split on the road and they're coming home. Like, that's a win for just about, every hockey watcher. That's just how it works, right? But Vegas knows if they go down 2-0 and then are heading to Edmonton, that ain't good. And the odds are now stacked against them. Doesn't mean the series is over. It's not. Vegas is a great team. But if you didn't see a push and a slight edge from Vegas tonight, I think that would have been weird. They finished, first in the division for a reason. They were going to come out and play desperate. I thought they did, but they got beat. That's got to sting, knowing that you went out and played a desperate game and laid it all out on the line and still lost, right? And now you're in an 0-2 hole.
Oh, it stinks. They're probably mad about the. I don't know if they probably all like the Arvidsson thing was pretty obvious. So I think everybody saw it. So they're probably really mad about that too.
They're not the guys who got cross-checked in the teeth.
That's true. I should correct myself. The Arvidsson thing is linked to the McDavid goal because the Vegas would have been on the power play with that if that call had been made. So that did factor into the winning goal significantly, and that will just add to the volcanic eruption.
Well, except that we don't know that they would have scored. Except that we don't know they would have scored on a 2-minute power play any more. We don't. We don't. The Oilers might have scored on a 5-minute power play, right? So it's.
Yeah. Boy, the Oilers were looking not good early in the overtime.
No, certainly. Didn't Vegas have a 7-1 edge in shots early in overtime?
It was
at one
pretty
point,
brutal. So. Yeah, let me just see the 5 alarms early there. It was not.
Yeah, I thought the Oilers were. I thought they were really fighting the puck early, but then you know what? The fourth line came out and gave them a good shift. And I know there was a bit of criticism out there tonight for how Chris Knobloch managed his bench. Well, last I checked, everybody doing the criticizing has never been an NHL coach. He knew exactly what he was doing. And that shift by the Janmark line in overtime, I thought was the first sign of life for the team that was on their heels for the first probably 3 or 4 shifts of the overtime.
Yeah, Podkolzin played .927, 2 points. You could say they could use the fourth line a bit more. I think that actually that's fair comment.
Given the results,
and then Emberson played. Where is he? Number 49, 705. 705. So maybe it is time to go to Stetcher because it's apparent the coaches don't trust him. Maybe they can trust Stetcher, and that will help the team. Because they did look like they were losing out of gas in overtime. And maybe having that one more defenseman moving the puck will make a big difference because Stetcher can move the puck.
Absolutely.
So I'm with you at this point. I wouldn't, he didn't 2 goals went through Emerson on the power play. So it's time to make a change there, and I agree with you, Kurt.
He's not succeeding for the almost sole reason why you're running him out there, right? So no offense to the kid, I'm glad he's on our team. I'm looking forward to watching him play going forward, but in this moment, I think there's a better option.
Agreed. Kurt, you got an early flight to catch. Let's leave it there. Thanks for talking tonight.
It's particularly fun to do it after a win like that.
And in the meantime, and in between time, and until we meet again, Bruce McCurdy in the Hall of Our Fathers, having a cool one and twisting the arms, evidently, of the hockey gourds for another Oilers win.
Way to go, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. This has been another edition of the Cult of Hocke podcast.